Hello guys and welcome to Footsteps and Tire Tracks, and today we're going to have a look at a problem with the new auto sleeper we've bought. We just purchased this VW T5 sander, auto sleeper, and unfortunately we went away in it last week to Busfest and we found out that the toilet's not flushing. So we're going to have a look at that. So there's a few simple things to try first, and then we'll get on to the, well, hopefully it will be a simple thing, but we'll show you some other things as well that it could be.
We're Mark and V, and this is our adventures.
Right, this is a toilet. It's a Thetford C200, but I'd imagine many of these toilets operate in a very similar fashion. Now, if I just show you, at the moment, we press the, and just press the button, and it's not flushing. Now, if I lift it up, you can actually see right through at the moment because I've got the cassette out, because that's where we're going to show you next. So the next thing we're going to look at is the fuse. The reason I've removed the cassette is because the fuse is there. It's the purple 3-amp fuse, and you can get to it with a pair of long nose pliers with cassette in, but it's far easier to take a cassette out so you can get access to it. So we'll just take the fuse out. And then if I bring them into the camera, you can see that the fuse is okay. Contacts are shiny, so they're not third or corroded, so it's not the fuse. So just plug that one back in. Now up here, you can see there, that's the drain plug for the cistern. Now, before we do anything else, the cistern needs to be drained, because that's where we're going to go next and have a look at the pump. Now, on this occasion, there wasn't anything in the cistern, so we wouldn't have had any water coming through even if the pump was working. That's our first mistake. We didn't realise you had to fill up the tank. But on the C200, this is where you fill the tank up, or the cistern up, for your flushing. We'll show you that in a little while, but now we'll go back inside. Right, the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to gain access to the pump. Now, this panel here can be removed. Now you can see a little bit of sealant around it there. So get a small flat screwdriver, and just gently, and I mean very gently, just ease all around the bottom, and just gently hold it, because these can break. And gently go around, because they're bonded in, so they can be very difficult depending on how much bonding is stuck. Just come around this side. You can see it's all released now, but he's still holding, so just very gently wiggling. And there he is. He come away, but you can see where he's been bonded in, and that's why these can crack. So be very, very careful. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to remove these 4 screws. I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see that a bit closer. So let's bring the camera in a little bit closer so you can see. So you want to remove that screw there, and that screw there. Then we'll put the camera back up above while you watch me do that. And I have heard stories about people dropping the screws down into the cistern and struggling to get them out. Now, if you were to do that, I suggest you get a magnetic extension bar. And I'll show you one in a little while, just so you know what I'm talking about. It's better, you're just very, very careful. So that's the 4 screws out. But before we go any further, I'll show you the magnetic extension pole. Now, this is the magnetic extension pole I was talking about. However, I've just discovered that the screws are not magnetic. No. So definitely be very, very careful. You could use a grabber, a long handled extension grabber, and I'll show you a picture of one of them. I don't own one myself, but I will show you a picture. And if you're interested, I'll put a link down below where you can get one of these. They're not very expensive, and I'll tell you what, it's saved my life a lot of times. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is we want to get access to the pump. So this plate here, if you gently lever him forward, you'll see he rotates and he comes out quite easily. Now we've unscrewed him. Just twist him slightly and then we can put him to one side out of the way. Now the pump, I'm just looking at see how we get to him. I'm just going to work out how we get to him and then I'll explain. Okay, the pump is quite easy to remove. Now I might have to get a torch so you can see this, but there's two little plastic U-clamps. You just disconnect the pipe from that and then we'll lift the pump out and have a look at the pump. We're going to remove the pipe, and they're always a bit tricky to take it out. Oh, that come out really quite easy. So the next thing I suppose is, while we got it all separated like that, is to work out why it's not powering up. So right, so the first thing I'd imagine we got to try is see if the pump is sticking. So I'm going to turn it upside down and hopefully you can see that you've got like little veins inside the pump, and that is quite tight. So we're going to move them a little bit, just gently. You don't want to break anything. And yeah, that feels very, very tight and corroded. So we might have to clean them up a bit. I don't know if we can take it apart. I don't know if that bottom piece comes off. I'm not going to force it. What we'll do is we'll just carry on manipulating that. I think we might get some warm water, actually, a little bowl of warm water, just to put them in and see if that helps. Let's see if that does anything. Okay, so the pump is quite tight and we've worked it a little bit now. And I'll try it again. Now you can actually see it's working, but it's slowing down. So as it slows down, gets to that point right there, and then when you come back, it's really quite tight. So I think our best bet is to put a new pump in it, because the last thing we want to do is put it all back together and this happen again. So you can feel it. It really is tight. It's a shame I can't sort of show that on the video, you know, how tight it is, but believe me, it's taken quite considerable force to turn that, and it frees up. There, it's freed up again now, and it slows down again. So what we're going to do is we're going to order a pump. It's just a standard pump. I'll put a link below where I'll buy it from. I'm going to get one off Amazon, and that'll be here tomorrow, and then we can get it fitted. Now, when you look, it's obviously had a pump fitted to it before. I also checked to make sure we're getting 12 volt at this end as well. We will tidy that up as well tomorrow, and we'll come back in a video. I don't think there's anything to gain by trying to fix that cheaply. It's going to cost about £10, and the last thing you want to do is be going away somewhere and have that fail on you. So I'm going to go away now. I'm going to get one ordered, and then we'll come back. That'll be delivered tomorrow, hopefully, if not Monday, and we'll fit it back. I'll show you it fitting, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we're going to go on Amazon, like I said, anywhere. I'll put a link below when we find one, and we're going to search 12 volt water pump for camper van, and then we come down. You know, you don't have to break the bank. There's the Amazon choice one. That looks absolutely fine. yeah. So I'm quite happy with that. £12.98. There's a voucher as well at the moment, so it's 15% off that. So we'll have that one. So that'll arrive tomorrow and we'll get it installed, and then I can show you the final stages of that. So it's all quite simple really, but steps to try, innit? Check your fuse. If the fuse is okay, then unfortunately, you know, it is digging down a bit more into it and looking to see if your connections, you can see these connections are quite shoddy anyway. And the pump, look at it, you know, there's rust there and everything, so it's not going to hurt doing this. It really isn't. And yes, we're at the end of the season, but we're starting to prepare for the next season. We're going to wake up in the winter as well, and we're going to need the toilet far more then anyway. So we'll carry on with that when that comes, and that's going to be a really quite simple fix. Well, here we are, and we're back, and basically the new motor has come from Amazon, but you'll see it's actually come with 3 cables. It's got a brown, blue and a yellow. Now, positive, negative and ground is the way they go. Now we need the positive and negative, but we don't need the ground. So we will now put that back into the unit here. You can see here I've now put connections onto the new pump, and after removing the wiring, there was very little wiring going back to the switch, and I thought to myself it's probably going to be better. I was going to solder them together initially, but probably better to have connectors. And what I've done is I've done a male and a female, so male on the brown, female on the blue, so we cannot get them mixed up just in case we have to remove it again. And I thought these pumps actually fail quite a lot as well, don't they? So we'll do it this way, and then it'll be quite an easy fix should we have to do it again. We won't be cutting wires and doing all the rest of it. So I'm going to put some heat shrink on them after I've connected them. I'm going to put some heat shrink on them first and then connect them. So on the blue, I'll put some blue, and on the brown, I haven't got brown, so I'm going to put some red. I'm just doing the heat shrink because it's all around water, isn't it? So we're all connected up. Let's see what happens. There we are. I'm happy with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it all back together. I'll put the heat shrink on first and then put it all back together. We'll fill up the cistern, and hopefully, all going well, we got a working flush. Right, so we've actually fitted the toilet in, fitted the pump in the toilet, and it's all working. Let's go back through what could have gone wrong with the pump not working. So the first thing to check is the fuse, which is in here. That's a 3 amp fuse, and you can just see it there. Easier to take this one out, the cassette out if you want to get to it, or you could use long nose pliers. So that's the fuse, that's the first thing to check. Now if the fuse is okay, you want to check that the pump works. And sometimes, as we saw earlier, we had to get over to the bottom of the pump and just turn him slightly to see if that freed him up. In our case, the pump was completely US and we had to replace it. Okay, so once we've done all that, we want to then fill the cistern back up. And the cistern is here. So this is where we fill the cistern. We fill them up there. And then we're all happy, ready to test to see if it flushes. And look at that. That flushes. So that's job done. Really happy. That's one of the jobs done for the van, and it's a nice convenience. It's a shame it wasn't working, but hey, it's all done now. Hopefully this has been helpful for you, and it may have helped you, and I'm sure this is going to be applicable for quite a few different toilets. There might be different ways of getting into them. There may be different ways of changing the pump. You know, they might be situated in slightly different positions. But the theory is always going to be the same. Check the fuse first. Try moving the propeller on the shaft next and see if that cures the problem. If not, you're going to have to replace the pump. It's quite simple. Not very hard to do at all. Right. Thanks for watching. Hopefully see you in the next video. Look after yourselves, guys.